As you can see, these are people on a raft. Just like Egyptians and Germans, they handle the stress differently. So take a look at this guy in the back. Would you say he's having fun? Yeah. What about her? She's scared to death. So we all have different reactions on how we handle things. Here is an informal company meeting that we had. And the interesting thing is, so that's the CEO, John Goldman. This is me. Take a look at, what do you see his arms, how is his arms placed? Yeah. Would you say he's an Egyptian or a German? Egyptian. Where are my arms? Am I more Egyptian or German? Yeah, but now take a look at his biological brother. Where are his arms? Yeah. And then these two women, it was an informal board meeting we had. They're both Germans. So in our company, and the interesting thing is, are you ready for this? I'm half Egyptian and half what? John Goldman is not just Jewish. He's Orthodox Jewish. I bet you're wondering what our board meetings are like, right? So I purposely believe in life, and I have gotten to points in my life that I would never have gotten to if it wasn't surrounding myself with people that are very, very different than myself. And I hear from a lot of you have taken surveys and we've spoken on the phone, is like your biggest challenges with people are not connecting. I had a great conversation with Earl, and he was saying, you know what? It's not about the money. Sometimes people just don't want to work because we don't have that connection. I heard from other people that it's millenniums, right? Maybe they don't want to work. Or I think we talked, maybe it was Billy Bob, or I don't know, we spoke on the phone. And he said, yeah, you know, we hire them and then they don't work. So how can we solve this problem? Well, let me just give you a couple. I'm a big believer in data, okay? So what do you like the payoff that you're going to get from our talk today with Julian of Goliath Tech? Well, here's a business case study for well-being, okay? And it's all in the numbers. You can never dispute numbers. So 30% of increase in sales, 30% increase in productivity, 44% of higher retention, and 300% more innovation. What do you need to do? Well, let's find out what the other part is. 51% less turnover, 66% fewer sick days, that's very expensive, 125% less burnout. These are companies that focus. If you take a look at the stock market, the best companies provide nearly 3 times the return. And what do? They not only attract A players, they focus on their business, not on the bottom line of how much I'll pay you, but what I can do for you. So if you're always focusing on, when you're hiring people, on the numbers, on how much you're going to get paid, you live by the price sword, you will die by the price sword, especially in today's market. Now, I know that Delaware is pretty much a right-to-work state, right? So they have a lot of freedom and a lot of choices, right, which you don't have in other states. And so what are you going to do to attract A players? Well, here's an example of Castile Construction. These are the two owners. They've been clients for a number of years, and their problem has always been hiring. Who here has a problem with hiring the right people? Okay. Who has a problem of keeping the right people? Okay. And how has that affected your bottom line? Terrible. So I'm going to share what we have done with them. It was just a husband and the wife, and the husband was pretty much wearing his belt the whole time. You know what I mean when I say wearing the belt, right? Going out on the jobs. Is that what you should be doing as a business owner? No, what should you be doing? Victoria, what should you be doing?
Focusing on growing.
Yes, that's it. Focusing on growing the business. And before I explain and give you some very quick tools that you can use, let me ask you this question. What do you think the frog has to do with your business? For some of these that came in a little bit late, I threw frogs at everybody. So, and they were very good-natured about it. What do you think a frog has to do with your business? Jumping from job to job? Job responsibility? Okay. What else? What do you think a frog would have to do with your business?
Taking a risk.
Taking a risk? That's good. But no. hear it. Go ahead.
Never looking back at what could have been improved.
Oh, I like that. What's your name?
Kathy.
Kathy, where are you from?
Brightfields.
Great. Okay, that's a good answer, but no, but that's a very good answer. All of you so far have been good answers. Anybody else?
Warts.
Warts? That's a funny one. That's a funny one. So how many of you took biology? Okay. You might remember this horrible, I always hated it. But if you take a frog and you put it in boiling water, the frog will what? Jump out. But if you take a frog and you put it in cold water and put it on the stove and slowly turn up the heat, the frog will what? Stay in the water and boil to death. And it's the same thing in business. Competition changes slowly. Customer preferences changes slowly. Our employment pool changes slowly. The question I have for you is, are you going to boil to death, or are you going to thrive and rise up? Who here is going to rise up? I tell you what, the fact that you are all here, part of ABC, tells me I have hope that you will. Because in order to rise up, you have to think differently of the way the market is today than it was 25, even 5 years ago. It used to be in business, you say, you know what, I'm everything to everybody, right? That's how it was in the gold rush, right? You come here, come to my store, you get a mule, you buy milk, you have daycare. Today, again, particularly the past couple of years, the internet has made everything so segmented. And if you don't evolve and revolve, and the demographic market is changing for your customer base, your current and your future customer base, right? And your employment pool. You have to evolve to it. So here's what we did for them, and I hope that you will find these tools useful. I have a form. If you want a copy of the presentation, put on the form, I want a copy of the presentation. If you want a copy of any of the forms, I'll be happy to send it to you. Here is just a kind of a cheat sheet about Egyptians and Germans that you can hold on to. So here, let's take a look at this. You want to basically simplify. Usually when you're hiring people, what do you focus on? What do you focus on? Skills. Right, what else?
Value.
What?
Value.
Okay, that's a difference. Skill, go ahead, Julie. Personality, that's it. Personality, value. What?
Culture fit.
Good, culture fit. So we had a conversation with Victoria, and Victoria was saying one of the biggest problems is that she would hire somebody, they would be perfect, and then they totally seemed like a completely different person. They were fake. So the Egyptian-German component, I hope that when you walk out that door, you'll leave with it, and you'll think to yourself when somebody comes in, are they an Egyptian, are they a German? Do you know what the biggest way that you can impress somebody or get somebody to do what you need them to do? So how many of you, when you're preparing to have a big conversation with somebody, whether you want to hire them, whether you want to get a big deal, whether you want to fire somebody, how many of you spend a lot of time thinking about your words? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a data-driven person. Actually, words only make up 7% of what influences another human being. What makes up the majority? Does anybody know?
Actions. Thoughts and actions.
Yes. You have 3 seconds to make an impression on somebody, and it is body language. Body language, it affects somebody 55%. So when you're thinking about you want to connect with somebody and you want to get that job, you want to get that deal, you want to hire that person, you want to fire that person, the first thing you should be thinking about in your mind is, are they what? An Egyptian or a German? If they're an Egyptian, how is their body language pretty much going to be? Relax. If you're a German, what are you going to do?
Sit up.
You better mirror them. You got to swallow the humble pill and say, you know what? I need to connect with this person, and I'm going to make myself uncomfortable to do it. Oh, and by the way, you do that when you're in a position of leadership. You humble yourself. You humble yourself, you focus on their body language, and you mirror it. That's it. And you look them in the eye. And you don't speak until what? They speak. And you particularly do that in times of tremendous stress. Watch them, observe them. Are they Egyptian? Are they German? Mirror them. And then if they're German, I'll share the most powerful word that you can use later. But right now, the most important thing that you should be thinking about when you're hiring somebody is not about skills. Skills can be taught. What is something that cannot be taught? Personality. Values. Personality. It can't be taught. So you need to be able to use the most persuasive word in the English language if you want to persuade somebody, in addition to body language, in addition to Egyptian and German. I'm going to share with you the most powerful word ever. Can anybody guess what it is? What do you think is the most powerful word in the English language?
Yeah.
Good, no. You? No.
Please.
Please is good, but no. You know what? I'll pay. I got $20. Believe me, I promise I have it.
What's the first letter?
I have a $20. Yeah, no, you're like my 11-year-old daughter, right? You know, and all these. Here, let me show you the cash. No, the most here, 20. Oh, okay, 10. I'll give you 10. All right, fine. I said 20. I just got to find the 20. I don't want to waste time. Okay, go. Keep going. What's the most powerful word in the English language? Oh, okay, here we go. I got $20 right here. Most powerful word in the English language. No is good, but that's not correct.
Thanks.
What?
Thanks.
Thanks? No.
Sex.
Yeah.
Good, but no.
Can.
What?
Can.
Can?
I can.
I can? That's a good one, but no.
One word, just one word.
Just one word. It's the most powerful word in the English language. It should be love is, I wish it was, but it wasn't. It's not. I wish you use this word every time you want to persuade somebody to do something that you want them to do. Please is good. You mirror their body language. You identify their Egyptian or German. You mirror them. And you say this word. Help? Help! I need business from you. Help! Money. Oh yeah, I need business from you. Money.
Well, it has to have something to do with asking them.
We. Listen, this word is because it's so important word, we actually always say it all the time. I've actually said this word 3 times. I've said it already 3 times. I is a very good one, but no. So here we go. What? Team is a good one, no. Because. Why is because the most powerful word in the English language? Again, I'm a data-driven person. This was research that was done at Yale, and they said, "Excuse me, how many of you have ever, waited in line for get copies done? Who's ever done that? Okay, how many of you would let somebody go in front of you? Okay, yeah, this is a very nice group. Of course you would. Of course you would. Well, let's see what the data says. What people do. May I have excuse me, I need to go in front of you. Could I go in front of you because I have 5 pages to make? About 60% of the people, average people, will do that. That's so nice. Excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush? What do you think the number is? Now watch this. It goes even more crazy than this. Watch this. Excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I have to make copies? 93%. Because. If anybody wants a copy of this PowerPoint, write on the form. If anybody wants a copy of the PowerPoint, I'll be happy to send it to you. Because. So the reason because is the most powerful word in the English language is because it answers the question of what? Why? And if you can communicate your why to whoever you want business with, whoever you want to hire, Earl, that's how you're going to be able to connect with them. You share the why. You share the why. Okay, because here it is, the impact on performance. So, it's a 400%. I went back to the numbers because these companies share their why. They share their why. So I started another company. It was called Crosstalks. And my why is, for that company, is to actualize the highest potential of everybody I know through God. That's my why. What's your why? What's your why? At Brand Launcher, our why is to actualize the highest potential of every business owner on the cusp of growth. Goliath Tech, what's your why? Who can share that? Goliath Tech saves people time. They save people money so that they don't have to go looking and spending a lot of time for that cement to dry. They save people time. They want to make the most use of people's time. Do I have that correct? In a nutshell? Your why. What's your why? So it starts with you. You know, you're the leader. There goes the company. You're the greatest asset, but you can also be the greatest bottleneck. So here's something you can all walk out this door and do immediately. How many, and to your point, Victoria, how many of you people have had to let people go and it's been very painful? And you're worried about lawsuits, and you're worried about this. Okay, here's what I'm going to share with you. It's the most powerful tool you can use. It's called the feedback loop, and each one of you can do it. If you want a copy of the feedback loop, I can give it to you in Word document, and you can just put your logo on it, okay? So when you're having a real challenge with somebody, and you know you're going to have to fire them, right? So the first thing, or on the positive side, let me say, I'm not going to show it to you, but you know, there's a bell curve of our employees, right? You know, 20% are the superstars, 20% are the people you should have gotten rid of months ago, right? And the middle part, the biggest part, are kind of in the middle. Who do you think would be the most important people you should focus on your staff? The superstars, the people you should fire, the people in the middle? Why? Who said middle? Yeah, why? You're right. Why? Why, Thomas?
Well, superstars are already there. The dead meat just cut them and go. Those 60, if you can bring them to superstars.
Yes, it's all about the numbers. You need to move that 60% to the top. The only kinds of employees, the majority of companies have that skew in their numbers, and that is, where's the highest cost that you have, bar none? What's your highest cost? Payroll. So you want to either move people up or you want to move them out. We cannot afford to have this 60% bloat anymore. We can't afford it. You move them up or you move them out. So the feedback loop can help you do that. Would you like to know how you do that very quickly? You do it in real time. It takes 5 minutes. First, you tell your staff, number one, we're going to start this new process called the feedback loop, and we're going to do it because we want all of us to get to the next level. So you have to share your why, right? We all want to get to the next level. So when you see somebody, give me an example of an employee of yours that has behavior that is not okay in your company. Quickly, throw it out there. Sleeping on the job.
I want to go work for them.
Okay, sleeping on the job. Good. What? Okay, that's fine. Let's just say sleeping on the job. So you see someone sleeping on the job. You gently tap them on their shoulder. Okay. Could we have a feedback loop?
Oh.
Yeah. And then you take them into a private room. And here's what you do. You ask them, let's make up a name. Joe. Joe, what do you think today you did really well? And by the way, you only say this when you're in a position of power. What do you think, Joe, you did really well? What do you think Joe's going to say to you?
Joe would have said, I scheduled 10 service calls.
Excellent, Joe. Great. Is there anything you think you could have done better, Joe? Today? No? Okay. Okay, great, Joe. Great. Well, here's what I'm going to share with you, Joe. I think you are fabulous at service calls. You do an amazing job. But here's what I think you can do better. We don't sleep on the job. Nobody in this company sleeps on the job. That's not okay. Do you understand that, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Can you not do that again, Joe?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, here's our feedback loop, as you knew that we would be doing. Do you mind signing this, Joe? And Joe signs it. So, what happens? Joe has been told. It's documented. And you, in a position of leadership, have given him the opportunity. It's all data-driven. It's not based on personality. It's not based on Egyptian German. It's not based on drama. It's not based on feelings. It's data-driven. So let's say you see Joe sleeping again. Mm-hmm. Pretend like you're snoring, Victoria. Okay, yeah, okay. Joe.
Yes.
Could we have a feedback loop?
Okay.
Great. Go again to the private room. Hey, Joe, what do you think you did really well today?
You say that again?
Yes. You stick to the format. You never get angry. You never accuse. You stick to the data. Joe, because again, it's a sense of humbleness. If you want to lead in today's world, you need to be humble. And you, as a leader, are the one who hired that person. You better find it within yourself to find something positive about them. And you better share it with them before the shit hit the fan. Joe, what's one thing you think you did really well today?
Well, today I sold 2 warranty programs.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there anything you think you could have done better today, Joe?
Probably could have sold more.
Okay. Well, Joe, here's what I think. You are an amazing salesman. I really appreciate that skill that you have. Here's something you could have done better, Joe. You fell asleep. In fact, you were sleeping so loud, you were snoring, Joe. Now, you know, if I go back to my file, we had to talk about this 3 weeks ago. What would you like to say about that?
I'm sorry.
So, Joe, do you think you can stop doing this?
I've tried.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that...
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay, good. So what happens after you've done the 3rd feedback loop? One of 2 things happen, and it always happens. With our clients, it's usually been by the time you hit 3. Either they self-correct and they lose their temper, because look, at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel they're successful. They do. Nobody wants to be held accountable for something. Nobody wants to fail. But the mistake most leaders make is they don't articulate what it is they're failing. It's just that they build it up, and then they explode. This is very clear data. So after the 3rd time with Joe, same thing, same routine, because you are in a leadership position, so you need to be calm. You need to mirror their body language. You need to ask these same questions. And then by the 3rd time, this is what Joe's going to say, you know what? I'm exhausted because you worked me too hard, I quit. That's a good thing. Or Joe is going to say, or you're going to say, you know what, Joe? You've done this now 3 times. It doesn't seem like this is a good fit for you. What do you think? Okay, your last day is going to be on Friday.
We actually would just with this particular person, we kind of hire slow, fire fast.
Good.
So this person who was sleeping, it conflicted with our core values of our company, professionalism. So we just nip it in the bud right there, and they were let go that day. Now, some other person maybe who, was maybe trying and went to somebody and said, hey, I really am having a bad day today. Can I take 5 or 10 minutes or something, or was communicating something, that person probably would be more beneficial for something like that for us.
But at the end of the day, you have to be careful because there are, Kevin, I believe you're a lawyer. You're building data. Yeah. So what are some examples, Kevin, of if you, let's say, like this, you just fire, like you see the behavior and you just fire, what are some liabilities that could happen?
Does Joe have a disability that is causing him to fall asleep at work, and have you just fired, and are you aware of it, and did you just fire them because they're disabled, in which case you're going
Yeah, we did think about that. We gave them an opportunity to say, what was what was going on. We, and they just kind of were just accepted the fact that they were sleeping. They didn't really say anything at all. So I like that, but I don't know that we would probably do that we probably wouldn't do it 3 times.
How would you defend your position in a court of law after?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. We haven't.
Well, what would you?
We were
Can you say, do you have any verbal or written warnings that you give these people, this person? Or did you give them?
When they, say they were stealing, we had somebody say that we caught stealing, right? It was considered, valuable. You can fire them for stealing. So in that situation, you just fire someone, right? You don't give them an opportunity. So when it comes against our core values, we just we don't give them multiple times.
So I believe there was a guy who was taking medication for his back from 4 years ago, right? What can you share that story?
Sure. So, client contacted me. It was actually an applicant for employment.
Okay.
Who was taking pain medication, some kind of oxy something, because they had a back injury and they were going to be operating a company vehicle. And the employer's insurance carrier said, we're not insuring this person because they're on pain medication. And the job this person was being hired to do involved operating a company vehicle. There were no two ways about it. So the company said, look, we're not going to hire you. Guy filed a charge saying, it was disability related. And fortunately, we settled it out inexpensively and quickly.
What would have had, just ballpark, what would have happened if he took it to court?
My client would have spent, I think we ultimately would have won, but my client would have spent a lot of money on me to go to court.
So about how much?
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, and so how much did he have to settle it for? About how much?
A couple thousand.
Why even bother with that? This is a simple, effective way to protect yourself because you never know the mentality. And that he wasn't even an employee.
Yeah.
So just something to think about. Now, the beautiful thing about the feedback loop is you also use it for superstars. Who has superstars at their company? Who has superstars? Yeah, okay, James. So give us an example of a behavior of a superstar.
I own real estate as well, and a behavior is leadership capability and getting the job done on time.
Okay, so let's say somebody gets a job on time. Okay, so let's call, you want to give a name to that person or just make it up?
Lucas.
Lucas! Hey, Lucas, could we have a quick minute for a feedback loop? Okay, so Lucas, again, it's in private. Hey, Lucas, what do you think you did really well today? What's Lucas going to say?
Got the job done behind schedule.
Okay.
Ahead of schedule, sorry.
Okay, and Lucas, do you think you could have done anything better today?
Sure, always.
Okay, yeah, he would say that. It seems like he would. So here's what I think, Lucas. Lucas, what I think you did really well is you nailed it. You are awesome with this delivery and timing. Anything you could do better? I can't even think of anything. Well done. Can you sign the feedback loop, put it in a folder, bonus time. Data, data, data. And then here's the other thing you do with the feedback loop for the superstars is when you have, does everybody here have meetings on a regular basis? Okay, on your meetings, you publicly acknowledge, hey, I want to publicly acknowledge Lucas. You know, he's a superstar. He gets a Dunkin' Donuts $20 card because Lucas is always on time. Yeah, let's all clap for Lucas, right? So that's how you keep the retention of your A players. This is what multi-million-dollar companies do. You can all do this. Feedback loop. You've got a form. You want a copy, I'm happy to send it to you. I'm going to have to go, this will be my last tool that I'm going to share because I'd like to introduce Julian. So if you want the feedback loop, just fill out the form. Now I'm going to talk about time, the highest and best use of time. So when we have what's called red light and green light. So red light is important and urgent. What do you think is an example of important and urgent? What's something you have to do? It's like timely. You have to do it. It's so urgent. Give me examples. What is it? What is it in your business that's so important that you have to do it?
Meeting client deadline.
Sorry, Julian?
I think it would depend on your position. It has to be the ultimate.
As owner.
As an owner, build a business.
Okay, maybe that because you are an owner who actually grows his business, but I'm not going to, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Meeting client deadlines and deliverables.
Okay, good. Meeting clients, deadline, and deliverables. Has anybody had those as important and urgent? Okay. If you keep working on these important and urgent things, meeting the clients in person, doing the deliverables on, you know what? That's productive time. That's productive. No doubt about it. But now let's talk about the green light, which is important but not urgent. Now, Julian, what do you do that's important but not urgent? It doesn't have to be done like at 3 o'clock today.
I don't know where to start on the list, but...
But I think what you said before, growing the business, right? That's important, but it's not urgent. And that's the highest and best use of time. That's what you should do as an owner of your company, is is I want you to think about how much of your time are you spending doing important and urgent things. Who's doing it more than 50% of the time? Okay? Where you want to do is you want to be able to go from important and urgent to important and not urgent. And the only way you can do that is to train other people. The only way you can do that is to train other people. And then you get to super productive time. So if you're always in important and urgent, you're like a hamster, moving, 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 moving. But if you get to super productive time, then you can get to the point where you're actually growing and building the business, and that is the essence of what gets you to the next level. If you want an example and some data on the habit and some things that you can do, you can just fill out the form, and I'll be happy to send it to you. And on this note, I would like to introduce the CEO of Goliath Tech. His name is Julian Rissling. Do you want to say a couple of words, Janine, about Julian?
The franchise is amazing. So supportive. I get so much support. The fact that he's here from Agard, Canada speaks volumes.
And he's going to share, he is a CEO of a very major company, and he's going to share some ideas and thoughts about how he has saved time and how he could save the time of so many people in here. Julian, welcome.